I want to make a quick video addressing this particular assignment on the Muckrakers. I want you to picture yourself as though you're alive in the early 20th century and you are experiencing these things. You are the Muckraker. So you saw a video on that and what they did, and you're exposing the corruption of this period based on the section that you are assigned. So make sure to follow the instructions, and it should be fairly clear. However, hopefully this helps too. You are assigned a section by your last name, so make sure to do the correct one that you're assigned. Some of them cover a few different parts of the chapter and maybe a following chapter or previous chapter, just because it provides some of the answers that you're looking for. For example, the women's suffrage movement, it goes to chapter 20 because there it gives you the resolution that comes out of that. Some of them are in earlier chapters. For example, this one is chapter 17, because even though this happened earlier, it starts during the late 1800s, but it goes into the 1900s, all right? So the majority of the information will be in this chapter. It's still part of the progressive era, even though it's a different chapter. And again, make sure to follow the instructions that are there. I want you to also integrate specific quotes. At the beginning of the semester, you had the quote sandwich and the art of quoting assignments. Now I want you to implement those ideas into this particular assignment. So I gave you two examples. I want to examine example number 2 so I can tell you exactly what the student did. Now, this example comes from a previous assignment, not the specific one, but it has enough information to help you in case you're not familiar on how to do this. So I quickly want to read it, and then I'll read you the quote from the actual textbook, so that way you know how they were able to change it to meet the expectations that are here. So as historians, right, we cite information, we cite primary sources, secondary sources in order to justify our arguments. So you're doing the same thing. You're just using our textbook, so that's all the information you need. But you also need to write this, so you need to write it grammatically correct. So example number 2 states, when we arrived to New York, we saw the splendor of the urban jungle and all that it had to offer. Again, this is a student's take on this. The trolleys took us, quote, to and from work, unquote. But on weekends, we flocked to Coney Island, where we could, quote, socialize, compete in carnival games, and listen to band concerts, ... Then it has these brackets, and I'll explain this in a minute, offering us an inexpensive opportunity to mingle with the opposite sex, away from the prying eyes of our families and neighbors, unquote, right? And then it has a citation where the information is coming from, and then it provides analysis. It says, we felt free to do whatever we wanted, no longer worrying of what others might think of our behavior or our reputation. So it's providing insight about the quote that it just used. This is what we do, right? That's what the quote sandwich, the art of quoting assignments kind of address. So make sure to do that. So quickly, I want to read you the quote where it actually comes from, and then explain to you how the student was able to modify it so it could flow with the language that he was using. In the textbook, it says, city dwellers flock to these new destinations to socialize, compete in carnival games, and listen to band concerts, right? This is that first section the student has there. And then the actual sentence has a period. And then it continues in a new sentence. For young working people, the amusement park offered inexpensive opportunities for mingling with the opposite sex, away from the control of family and neighborhood. Period, right? So as you can see in this example, the student actually combines two sentences from the textbook, but also eliminates certain words so the sentence flows. So that's the ... because in the original sentence, it had a period there. And in order to tie it so it can continue into these two sentences, this is what we do. We use this ... And then what the student did in order to link them together, the student inserted their own word, but they did this by providing brackets, telling the reader that this isn't from the quote, this is something that they put in there. So offering us, again, that's not in a direct quote, but it helps link these two sentences together. And then secondly, another place where we see the brackets is opportunity, right? In the textbook, it has it opportunities. Here it has an opportunity in the singular. So Again, the student does not, he changes the word, but does not change the context. And it does it over here too. I think the word that it had here was from the control. Here the student says from the prying eyes, right? It's the same idea. It just flows better by using this word. All right, so keep that in mind as you're integrating quotes, direct quotes, into your assignment here in the Muckrakers. Kind of explains it there. There's the requirements. I provided a template and a word count. So make sure to meet these requirements that are there, because as it states over here, your paper will not be accepted if you do not meet those expectations. All right, so if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get to learn a little bit about this progressive period, because it's a very kind of fascinating era.